I'm Eliana Marcus, and I do soccer, violin, arts and crafts a lot. I like to draw a lot. And I also sometimes just like hanging out, playing games with my brother.
And I am Jim Bruner, and I am Ileana's co-host. Welcome, Jordan.
Thank you so much, Ileana and Jim. Ileana, I saw you just had a international collaboration launch with your new teammates in Mexico. That's so cool. I loved how you were working on the fly.
There's been a lot of that this morning. But that's why we're here. We see your presentation.
Yep,
okay, do you still see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Looks good. All right, so my name's Jordan. I work for an organization called Project Invent, and I just found out about GIFT back in September, and I thought, how cool that there's a global convening of inventors. And I work for Project Invent, so I kind of, this feels like the right place to be, and I'm really excited to share with you all today what our organization does. We do work with primarily high school students, and I'm going to show you a little bit about our program and then mostly save a couple minutes at the end to brag about some of the inventions that our students have made over the last couple of years. So I don't need to introduce myself again. That's me. Project Invent is a nonprofit organization really focused on developing 21st century skills in high schools. Right now, we're just in the US, but who knows? We could expand sometime soon. We're only 4 years old, so we're growing and we're young. There's a lot of talk in the world about developing 21st century skills and producing graduates that are ready to jump into the workforce. And what we found is that if students can go through an invention journey and start to see themselves as an inventor, and especially an inventor that can build something that makes the world a better place, there's no better way to convince them and empower them to jump into the 21st century and start solving problems while they're teenagers. And that's kind of our big thing at Project Invent, is why make anyone wait? So we empower high school students to solve problems and call upon their innovative talents, call upon their creativity. We consistently tell high schoolers, you can invent, you can make your community a better place. You can create technology that will improve the lives of the people around you. And it's really cool to see if you tell a young person that, they'll run with it and they will make the world a better place. And so at this point, Project Invent started with one class of high school students in California. This year, we're serving over 700 students across the country. So we'll have more inventions at the end of the school year than ever before. And we're super excited. Yes, Jim, invent now, why make anyone wait? The unique part of Project Invent is that we think, especially because invention can be an intimidating word, when it's related to STEM and engineering and design thinking, and some of those words might scare young people off. We really focus on using invention as a tool to improve local communities. So we ask students, at the start, we don't ask students, do you want to invent something or do you want to engineer something? We ask them, do you want to make the world a better place, or do you want to make your community a better place? And then introduce them to the skills that they need to invent. Because at the end of the day, anyone can invent if they're just told that there's a team of people around them supporting them to do so. So every single one of our students works with someone in their community. And this is someone that the students can choose, or maybe they know them from school, but it's someone who might be able to benefit from some sort of technological invention. So the example you see on the left side of the screen is the man on the right-hand side is a neighbor of one of our students who lost his sight in his 20s. And so the students decided that they wanted to work with him for the course of a school year. They did a lot of interviewing. We really focused on design thinking at Project Invent. So the students spent a lot of time just kind of trying to develop their empathy and infuse empathy into their invention. And in this case, as the students were talking to this man, his name's Jimmy, about some of his experiences having gone blind later in life, one thing they learned is that crossing the street becomes really dangerous. So he had actually been in a couple of accidents while crossing the street. And so that's what they decided that they wanted to fix. And in this case, the students actually invented a belt that Jimmy can wear when he's crossing the street. And if he starts to veer in one direction too much, the belt will buzz his hips and kind of re-straighten him onto the crosswalk. So that's just one example. I'll show some more examples later. This is how Project Invent students, and for clarity, our students do take on an invention project for a full school year. So they start in right about now, October, and we start with design thinking, like I said. So that right now, all of our students around the country are interviewing users in their communities. We've got firefighters, we've got the facilitator of a local food bank, a ton of different community partners are what we call them. So right now, students are really just interviewing people to understand what might they be able to invent to improve the conditions of their community. Once they've done enough interviews, this usually takes a couple months, they actually dive into the engineering process, this middle part of the school year. That's typically happening from December through March. And then at the end of the year, we actually have an opportunity, just like this, just like GIFT, for the students to share their work live with an audience. And we are really lucky to have enough support to give some cash prizes out at that event that are intended for students to invest in some sort of entrepreneurial venture related to their invention. So here's an example of that event at the end of the school year. It's called Demo Day. This Demo Day event is from a couple of years ago and was in person. And then of course, last year we went totally virtual. So here's an example of what that Demo Day event looked like. You can see the students presenting. And then in the upper left-hand corner, we've got a great panel of judges that come out and do Q&A with the students, and the judges do ultimately award the prize money. And now is my favorite part. And Jim, am I supposed to wrap at 7:55? Okay, sorry.
So we have time for questions.
Okay, so I won't go into all of these, but here are a couple of inventions we've seen over the last couple of years. You can see that our students are addressing any issue they feel passionate about. And some of them are made for individual people, like the one in the middle screen here. This community partner on the screen is named Aiden, and the students invented specifically for Aiden. But some of our students are really passionate about other things like concussion prevention. This was designed for high school football coaches to place a headband on any student who is involved in an impact at practice and immediately start detecting any signs of concussion. So we really don't place any limits on what problem the students want to solve and what solution they want to build in relation to that problem. And here's a map. The takeaway here is if you want to get involved, we're across the country and we're ready to invite anyone from the US to join us if you're interested. My email is here. I don't know if you all are sharing this information after the fact, but feel free to reach out to me anytime.
It'll be broadcast on YouTube, Jordan.
Great.
And I will be contacting you.
Okay, good.
All right. It's a great presentation. Ileana, what are your thoughts?
I think it's really cool, and I have a question. How did you think to just let the students just if they have if they want to solve something, they can do it and find a way to do it?
That is such a good question. So we saw some research that said that especially when students get to high school, so a little bit older than you, they start to feel a little bit frustrated, like they want to connect, they want to be outside of the classroom. They want to be learning in the real world and not just reading in a textbook. Or if they're solving math problems or solving problems on their science test, they really want that to be related to the community that they live in or the people that they love. And so we wanted to find a way to make that bridge between the textbook and the world outside of the classroom and allow those things to work together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's actually really cool.
Thank you.
Ileana and I were chatting back and forth during the presentation about how impressed we were with the work that your students did with Jimmy and how practical that invention was. A haptic response belt that directs you back to safety. What a great idea.
And that team just got their first patent. So that was recent, within the last year. We're really proud of them.
Ileana, do you know what that means, a patent?
I've heard it a lot, but I haven't really
So Jordan, what, for our YouTube audience who may not know, what is a patent?
A patent is a official document from the government that says, Ileana, you came up with this idea. It is your idea and no one can steal it.
Yep, that's it. I was just really impressed with the high levels of empathy that you develop in these young people, because that's such a, empathy is not sympathy, Ileana. Sympathy is, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm glad it isn't me. Empathy is, oh, that's dreadful. I've been through that. I know what you're feeling. Let's feel this together. That's such a more important thing to feel than, haha, too bad it's for you. Glad it's not me. Because that doesn't make good character or good citizens or good friends. Friends show empathy. And that's what impressed me about your presentation, Jordan, is obvious empathy that went into those design challenges. So bravo. And I want this to come to Ohio because we need more of this. And it's something I'm passionate about. And maybe even to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where Ileana lives, we could have a program. So closing remarks. Ileana, do you have any other comments for Jordan or questions?
No, I just think that's really cool of what you do.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And Jim, would love to chat sometime soon.
Will happen. So Ileana, tell our audience how you feel. Did you enjoy this? You did a great job.
Yeah,
Did you have
I
fun?
think it was like really fun and it was really interesting to learn about stuff.
Good job.